Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 21. Today we're playing a little bit of Shen Jarvan. And so, at its core, this is a board control deck. The way that we're looking to have most of these games play out is we're going to start off with some early game challengers. Here we have the Fleet Feather Tracker, the Petricite Broadwing, and the Laurent Protege. We're going to come in and try and protect them with our various defensive cards, be it Brightsteel Protector, Duran Sculptor, or Shen himself. Then we also have the handful of defensive combat tricks and the Twin Disciplines and the Shield of Durand. And then we're not actually looking to come out and make trades. We're trying to just generate a big board. And then once we have that big board, we can clean up with a Vanguard Sergeant generating a 4 Demacia, or we can kind of start to pick and choose the combats we want to get into, maybe start to trade off some of our smaller units while ensuring that Screeching Dragon and Baby Jarvan get their big high priority targets taken down. And so the addition here of the King Jarvan, he did just pick up 3 points of attack, or 2 points of attack. He used to be a 3/6, now he's a 5/6. Extremely powerful if Jarvan is already on the board, and then a big source of card advantage if he is not. This is a pretty high-powered play. If Jarvan's already down, you're just going to win the game. And then hopefully if him drawing Jarvan and you going into the next turn, that may be enough to end it as well. But those are the big kind of top end plays that we're looking to make, would either be the Jarvan combos or the 4 Demacia, and then we can of course close everything out with the Golden Aegis. And so in terms of the spells, things look a little bit different than what you're used to. I don't think playing Demacia, we can just auto-include the 3 sharp sights in every deck now. The loss of a point of attack was pretty painful. Just the +1/+2, it does win some combats, but it doesn't win nearly as many as it used to. The Fleet Feather Tracker can't take down a 4 health unit with a sharp sight now. And so I have completely pulled those out. We are still playing the 3 Twin Disciplines, and we're starting to make usage of the Shield of Durand. Just plays fantastically with the Petricite Broadwing. Helps us, not win the combats, but build up that big board we're looking to. And then as you see these spells here, one of them may look a little bit strange. We are playing Homecoming in here today. This is the only way for Demacia and or Ionia to deal with landmarks. And so with the prevalence and the commonness of the sun disk that we're going to see today, I wanted to have some bit of interactivity for the sun disk, and we are limited to Homecoming. And so it's not the worst thing ever here. Returning a Brightsteel Protector is pretty okay. Returning Vanguard Sergeant isn't the end of the world. And then, of course, we can just make these gigantic value plays if returning King Jarvan himself, but likely won't see that happen. Here at the end of the day, this is here mainly to just deal with all of the landmarks, but it is still quite useful against the likes of not a Jarvan deck, a Pantheon deck. As the Pantheons go tall and they load up their faded units, we tend to not really be able to deal with them. With a deck like this, we can give stuff barrier and get in front of it and whittle it away, or we can hook it out of combat so the rest of our units can go and deal damage, but we aren't very good at just physically dealing with that unit. And Homecoming does give us a way to deal with our opponents going tall, whether or not that's bouncing a Pantheon if it doesn't have Spell Shield, or bouncing one of the faded units. And so it still has a place here. It's a little new and a little odd, but I think it's going to work out nicely. And so, as you all know, before we jump into battle, we do have to pay the pay-to-win price. I was actually looking to go and purchase one of the new Infernal skins for Shen, but man, those things are just so depressing. It's not to say that they look bad, they look fine. But I like my cards to be like happy and shiny and pretty. It's like I loved the Pool Party set. Pool Party is one of my favorite sets of skins pretty much ever made across the League itself and Runeterra. And then also, it's kind of okay with, Battle Academia, but it's like I look at the Infernal set and the Worldbreaker set, and I'm like, this stuff is just depressing. I don't want my cards to be all dark and sad. I want them to be all bright and cheery. And so we're not going to be purchasing the Infernal Shen today. I think we're moving on to the Shield of Durand. Otherwise, we're pretty heavily covered. We've been playing all those scouts out there and upgrading all of our Demacia cards along the way. Is we even got the premium Jarvan out here. Yeah, it's just the shield or a champion at this point, and so I guess no infernal skins for you today. Just the Shield of Durand. And let's get into battle. So, I'm kind of interested in how this goes. I think this deck is fine. I've played, I don't know, 5 or 10 practice games with it. The problems that I've kind of run into with this deck, and we'll see if they come up as we go throughout the games, is the 2 attack on our early challengers isn't really enough, and so it's like I kind of want to play Young Witch instead of the Durand, instead of the, what are you called? Durand Sculptor. But the Young Witch does get killed by Pokey Stick, which is pretty bad place to be in this format, and so I'm a little bit worried of things in that sense. But I was kind of looking at that, and then as I kind of look at this deck, it also makes me just think of playing Fiora Shen again, or Fiora Shen, as Fiora is pretty good against like anything playing Sand Soldiers, and I think she probably has a pretty real place in this format. So we'll see. Mystic Shot. That's unfortunate. I was really stoked for our units to come down with the large size, but it's okay. We're managing this board pretty well. As we were talking about wanting to play Fiora as opponent just Mystic Shots one of our units off the board. that is one of the supreme downsides to playing Fiora these days. That third point of health is really important to have. But not a bad curve here. We can get the Shen down, follow up with the Screeching Dragon. Opponent isn't doing anything to get on board. I feel like we're pretty safe here. I mean, he's trying to do stuff with Nami and boost up the attunes or whatever, but we're going to be able to just directly challenge her next turn. Blue card with Twisted Fate. Interesting. He's going for it. Doing all the cycle. He's going to get to draw 5 cards next turn. It's pretty close to flipping a Twisted Fate. But I was a little bit more interested in trying to hook him with Screeching Dragon. It's like things can go kind of wrong with now that we have a single combat. Well, we have the single combat and the Twin Disciplines. Let's do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and... Do we need to go ahead and just give it the barrier now? I want to get like more on board. We're like so ahead on board and it feels really bad to not add an additional unit. But I think it's a little too dangerous to add the Screeching Dragon. I want to be able to take down Twisted Fate if we can. All right. Let's see where that gets us with the challenge onto old Steve. So if it comes down to it, we can play... Oh, he's playing Nami cards to give him the boosts. Oh, man. How bad is this going to be? I wasn't counting on the bursts to come through. Okay, let's start with the Twin Disciplines. We still have single combat mana. And I feel like we're going to feel pretty good that we didn't play the Screeching Dragon this turn. So he's going to need to play 2 more spells to get Steve out of the single combat. There's one. And a Mystic Shot. Now, the new question is like how screwed are we this game, right? We can either try and take down Nami, because Nami is where the problem is going to be next turn. Dude has 4 elusives in his hand. Depending on the amount of spells he's able to play, that's going to be an issue. But the Twisted Fate flipping is also going to be a problem. If he has 1 card draw card, I think I'm a little bit more worried about Twisted Fate flipping than I am with Nami. And so let's do this. Let's single combat off the Brightsteel Protector. We should get to keep the rest of our units this way. Oh no. Ooh. Is that... Hang on, we messed this up. This is bad. I guess if he has like 1 more spell, it could be a problem, but we should have single combated the Fleet Feather Tracker onto Nami. No, hang on. Yeah, and then the Twisted Fate wouldn't get the bonus off of this. that was bad. I'm gonna say if he has a card, then it looks a little bit better, but we did have the potential to take down both of his units there. But we got Twisted Fate off of the board. He has these 4 elusives in hand, but he only has 2 cards at this point, so he should have a little bit more trouble just going ham this turn. And then interesting space here. We did just pick up the Golden Aegis. We can like 3 bank this turn. The next turn open, get a Jarvan attack, and then barrier and get another Jarvan attack. But I think I'm just... How many barriers do we going to have here? We can level up Shen, but we can't get the bonus attack off of his flip, right? Because we only have the 2 barriers. But I think I'm like pretty interested in hooking down one of these Poros. But man, it's like just not a game-breaking Golden Aegis, though. Let's just let it go. Perfect. Jarvan will come in now and hook the Nami. Got a bunch of barriers this way, and now we'll have the Golden Aegis to get another big attack in this turn. Then we'll feel much better if Jarvan flips and doesn't die and gets the Cataclysms every turn. We're going to be in a pretty powerful spot. Alright, Shen, let's start deploying them barriers, bruh. Get them bonuses, please. I think we're more interested in protecting the Shen here. It's kind of tempting to even put the barrier onto the Brightsteel Protector just to spread out the damage. But yeah, that's probably where we should be. We should be hooking one of his smaller units, putting the barrier onto the Brightsteel Protector, and then oh shit, we could have even pulled that back. I didn't realize I hadn't pushed the button yet. But that would give us 3 lethal units instead of 2 lethal units on this board. Uh-oh. Bring in something.
Perhaps they realize they've already lost.
Perhaps they realize they've already lost. Interesting, interesting. And he hits our 3-2. I guess it's good we didn't put a barrier on him. Twisted Fate comes in on the red card. Now he's just going to have to block both of our units. Okay. Old Steve here. If you're not familiar with why we call Twisted Fate Steve, you know, he's hanging out the house. That needs to, you know, he's Twisted Fate. You figure he hangs out in the basement a lot. He yells upstairs to his mom, and he's like, "Mom, I need a sandwich." She's like, "Steve, fix it yourself. You're a grown-ass man." He's like, "It's not Steve, Mom. It's Twisted Fate." You know? He has to sit around, try to get his friends to call him Twisted Fate instead of Steve. Don't call me my Christian name. Call me Twisted Fate. You got it, bruh. You got it. Okay. Getting the round 1 victory. Taking down old Steve. What do we got here? A little bit of Lulu Fizz. Aight. You can reasonably control their board. Here, in these early openers, I like to just hang on to our units. I typically just hard mulligan for all units into the early game, and then just let the other stuff kind of filter in. Right, this is a nice little curve that we've assembled here. All right. And I think I'm just going to open. I'm not going to like hook anything with the Fleet Feather Tracker. And then if opponent plays like a Boom Baboon here or something, it just shuts down all of our attacks. Bomber Twins, same deal. We can get so many stats out of these Durand Sculptors. Just gives us so much time. It makes me a little happier to protect against these boards.
There's nothing a good giggle can't fix.
Let's wait. I'll twin disciplines down Lulu if we're given the chance.
And beautify.
All right, he's booming us pretty hard here, but hopefully doesn't have too much strength after the Lulu. But this is not looking like a good board.
All right, let's get to work.
Follow me. I know where I'm going.
You're gonna have to do the work today, Jarvan. we need you to do your thing. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. We're gonna have a really good looking attack next turn.
Party, attack!
We probably have to prevent this damage, though. It's not ideal. We can't just block with the Screeching Dragon. Then use Jarvan to take down one of these big boys. We'll have to put like the Screeching Dragon hook into Flame Chompers, which isn't terrible. I just don't want to get annihilated by Yordles in arms here.
A little reinforcement at the seams.
Well, just do your best, okay?
Is that on the dragon? Okay.
Welcome to the team.
All right, incoming Yordles in arms. This is not going to be delightful. We can potentially. So he plays it. His units are going to get the +4/+4. We have a Cataclysm to take down this Flame Chompers or the Bomber Twins. Oh, he's just opening. Interesting.
Captain Model for me?
So, I mean, how worthwhile is this homecoming going to be? I think we just probably have to do it. Well, we can wait until next turn. We fall to 4. We can still get away with just hooking one Daring Poro. Or homecoming, like if we homecoming the 3 attack one, the other one will only take us to 2. We gotta have something go right here.
Break their spirits and their swords. Discipline and steel. A quest?
So many Yordle captains.
The balance requires
All right. Well, this is our turn. This is our chance to get this stuff off of the board. I think we're going to go for the 4 Demacia here. That should let us, flip and get some interactivity going. He's probably going to refill his board, but I think this leaves us in a good spot. If we take 4 of his units off of the board, we still have 4 units left behind. We have a homecoming to deal with something. I think that's all well and good.
it must be done. We march.
Let's just do it like. Let's just do it like this. None of his units are big enough to take down any of our units. He could play like a group shot or something to take down like the Vanguard Sergeant, but I think it should be pretty safe.
No.
Take 6. Right.
For Demacia!
Get him, Jarvan. So this is the thing we have to answer right now, the Daring Poro. I mean, this board looks like it's turned out okay. Treasured Trash. All right. This dude plays like a 7, an 8, and a 9. I'm going to be so upset. Every time we play Treasured Trash, it's like just all 0s, 1s, and 2s, and maybe a single 4. It's always just trash. Here it comes. Let's get upset. Alright, so we got a 6. Must be nice. What else you got for us? Man, the thing that really sucks about him putting Jarvan on top of our deck is we can't play Jarvan and Homecoming in the same turn. Like, if we could just draw, like, literally anything else in our deck, it would be nice. Alright, so he's got 10 mana off of this. Never done that my whole life. Must feel good. And then a 2. Brash Gambler's pretty sick here in that he got to discard those fleeting cards, so he's going to get to draw. Maybe we'll get to Homecoming it back to hand at least.
You have no alibi. Understood.
Can take the 2. I don't think these decks, he doesn't have the list on here. I don't think these decks usually play Mystic Shot.
Strength and grace, beauty in the blade.
So much, so much for that idea. Okay. Oh, that's tough. It was like we were so super far behind, and we're able to claw ourselves back into that just a little bit. It's unfortunate to see the treasured trash come through so strongly, because it is always garbage whenever we play it. That's the way things typically go, right? Whenever something happens to us, it's luck, but whenever we do it, it's skill. So, not surprised to see it pan out that way. Okay, our first Sundisk Bro of the day. See if the Homecoming makes an appearance and sends it back as it's just about to level up. Excellent. It's always awkward to me when like we have these Bright Steel Protectors in a very expensive hand and we have to kind of like awkwardly drop it on the board. Like really terrible dropping a Bright Steel Protector against this random 2/1. So a very strong draw in the Duran Sculptor. All right, people out here playing Soothsayers. It's gonna make it a little bit more challenging to pull off a Homecoming, but it's okay. I don't think we get enough value out of playing 2 units this turn. We can play like the Fleet Feather Tracker and the Bright Steel, but I don't feel like there's not gonna be enough that we want to hook this turn. Right, and here's the problem with the size of our units. I don't really want to be killing this Endless Devout anyways, but we don't have strong ways to actually take this unit down. Okay, I'm gonna spend all this mana here. I'm gonna play the Bright Steel. The next turn we'll have the Screeching Dragon plus the Twin Disciplines to kind of pick and choose however we want to hit this board. Yeah, up to 6 on a Azir. Okay, we should be able to start slamming the damage in here now. This is kind of one of these awkward spots for opponent to where they don't have a lot of ways to get a bunch of dudes on board. But I think this is enough. It doesn't feel like I really want to Twin Disciplines this stuff. Like, the Soothsayer is not an important unit to take down. We're able to get some more stats on board this way. I think this is fine. Now, the big thing with this here is we do have Jarvan. And so if we can draw Baby Jarvan and get this going with the Scouts and the Challengers, gives us a reasonable way to close out these games. That's the problem that we run into against the Sundisk deck, is they can just throw like a bunch of stuff on the board the whole game, and we don't have any way to just like punch through the damage. Just have to like rally through it or try and scout through it with Jarvan. Kind of a bad rally, if you will.
We can always rely on you to keep us safe.
Xerath is 1 landmark away. Azir is 2 summons away. So both of the champions getting pretty close to flipping. We probably just have to win the game on our next attack. So it's kind of a tough spot here. We have the mana to drop the Vanguard Sergeant and 4 Demacia. We're a little bit short of getting the kill, though. I think I'm still in. We can play Jarvan next turn and then potentially open with the big version. Get the baby Jarvan out there. Okay, so his board is full now. We're only going to be chunking in for 10 damage, though. Guess we could technically hit for about 12, but not quite enough. We can. We can only hook 2 of his units.
Needs a finishing touch.
Alright, let's put the small unit in front of the protege. The bigger ones in front of the dragons. I don't think the health is completely going to matter here. He's got this stupid sandstone charger. Okay. Yes, can we? We can't twin disciplines here. It's like, this mathematics is starting to get a little close, but alright. Alright, well, let's see what they bring to the table.
I don't want to meet whatever woke you up.
Doesn't seem like they have either of the champions now, so looks like we might get back to our next turn before he's able to flip the Sun Disc. Like, it doesn't matter when they flip the Sun Disc. It matters once they start like drawing the cards. I guess it matters with Xerath. Like, he does a bunch of stuff on his level 3, but it's not as scary. Okay, so Xerath will flip next turn. If you hit 2 predicts, it's a pretty decent chance that he's going to hit the Azir. The single combat. That could be quite important in giving us a board to where we can open attack through whatever he has. There's Azir, sure. Come back here in about 10 minutes once these animations are done. All right, we got to see them all. Good job. Oh my god. This is almost as bad as people playing slow. Now we gotta watch the Xerath one. Okay. Is that rope started yet? And you blew up a unit. Awesome.
Take to the skies. Take to the fields. Find him.
All right, so it's like the question now comes down to like how do we do our single combat? We have to like block some stuff. I don't imagine he'll attack with Azir when we have the Screeching Dragon on board, but he is going to get like the Sandstone Charger attack off of it. Kind of a crappy spot. Well, that's the one we'll be using to single combat with, and it's so tough. Like, we can go after the Azir, but if he has... they usually play that -2 card, right? Ancient Hourglass would be a problem, Quicksand would be a problem, and so I guess if he has quicksand, we're just gonna fail either way. And so let's try and take the Azir down. But wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of trick come in here. But see, like in this space as well, even though his Sun Disc had the spell shield on it, it wouldn't be upsetting to return like a Brightsteel Protector to our hand to bounce his Xerath or something. And so, sure, the Hourglass. So we're going to lose a couple of units. Xerath's going to kill something. Units are going to come back. Oh, okay. We're fucked. let's end this. Sorry I made us sit through and watch all of the animations. That was I thought we had a chance to pull that one off, but it's a little much there at the end. Okay, next one. Oh, I wish there was a way to skip all of that. Like, as someone, I played World of Warcraft for years, didn't read a bit of quest text, didn't watch a single cutscene. It's just like, you know, you enter the raid and all the cutscenes start showing up and there's like escape button. Get me out of this. I don't want to watch any of it. And that's like such a brutal moment having to watch all the cutscenes. That's I guess that's about as first world problems gets, just complaining about having to watch fucking video as we play our video games all day. But anyways, we're gonna get the Sculptor on board. Like, we're never blocking either of these Yordles. And this lets us play on curve with the Fleet Feather Tracker into the Brightsteel Protector. I think that's a little bit better than adding the Protege. It gives us just way more stats on board. Okay, now we have the big curve into Shen and the Dragon. These games make me like wonder if I ever want to play the card Rush. Like, we're always so worried about finding that 1 point of damage that we could, you know, potentially get it like this. Did he discard a spear? If he didn't discard the spear, we can take down Rumble. Kept it.
Immediately.
Yeah, where do you get overwhelmed from? Do you discard Scion? Yeah. Okay. Alright, well, let's see if the Screeching Dragon's enough to take down the Rumble. Should be ready to do some good blocking. Tricks do these people even play? War the Slayer, Bloody Business, Whirling Death? This be Aurora the Slayer? That kills our weakest unit, right? Oh, the strike thing. Oh, fuck. That is slightly problematic.
I find them unworthy.
Might get lethaled through the Rumble next turn. I wasn't expecting so much damage to be coming through. Okay, this isn't horrible. We can deal with this if he opens on us. Double barrier is interesting.
We walk between realms.
All right, get back out here. Get back out here. All right, well, that wasn't horrible. We're pretty close to dead, but I mean, let's get a full board. We can't afford Demacia this turn, but we can add. We want to add the Sculptor. We have 7 mana, so we can add the Sculptor. We can add the Brightsteel and add the Protege. We're in this sweet position again, though, to where we're not big enough to actually take down Bouncer and Bolt.
Strength and grace, beauty in the blade.
My shield is yours.
Our wills align.
Do it now. Get these sweet Shen flips.
Now that's a bit better.
It must be done.
Protect and strike.
Hardly fair.
One of these. Probably no reason to attack with the Sculptor, I guess. It's just going to get boomed. Well,
Where's my hammer?
let's just deal the damage. If he wants to take the value block, then we'll punch in a little bit of extra damage. I think that's fine. Takes him to 4. Still don't feel like really good about winning this game. He's coming up on a Scion turn. He discarded 1 Scion, so he's not super likely to have him, but our health is pretty low. The elusive Mecha Yordle would kill us.
Discipline and steel.
Yep. So I mean, we could have done that a little different. We could have, we could have blocked that. We could have blocked that Rumble a little earlier. That sucks. Like I guess he had like 2 or 3 manifests though to hit that elusive. It's not ultra upsetting to think that they would hit it. Man, I'm so curious like how we would handle this deck with Fiora, like just Shen or with Fiora. She seems so good against this thing. They just like don't have the good interactive measures to try and stop her. So they're out here playing their Dune Keepers. There's not like too many Sand Soldiers, but if they ever play like a Z or 2 early, then you have the means to block all of the little Sand Soldiers as well. It's just like so brutal. These combats just don't matter.
All right, let's get to work.
All right, Sculptor, get in there.
Keep your distance.
Again, like, I wish we were in the space to where we could ignore their summons, right? If you let them get, like, the completely full board, then you're in a spot to where you can just, like, let them completely fill it out, and then they can't add, like, roiling earths to the board. But this is Homecoming if we if we get to the point we're making that play.
Now that's a bit better.
Maybe Homecoming. Maybe. No. Maybe not.
City is in your care, and you in ours.
We had an idea. Just the Homecoming idea didn't work.
If it's made of sand,
Sure.
I can write it.
Drop in the pre-science. Still feels like garbage to me. I'm really surprised people are playing the pre-science in this deck, but I haven't been playing it. What do I know? Here's our way out of a lot of these messes. We didn't have the rally in the previous game, but you're able to get in 1 attack and completely clear out their board and then rally to get through the second time. That's usually the reasonable way to win these games. And so we'll see. I don't think we'll be doing it next turn. I think we'll be rallying 2 turns from now to where we can burst a Jarvan onto the board and then Golden Rally for a second attack. Golden Aegis for a second attack. Golden Rally, Golden Aegis. It's all the same.
That's a bit better.
Why did he add all of these to the board?
Needs a finishing touch.
I mean, okay. Like, is he like double quicksanding to get out of all of these, or what's the deal here? Ancient Hourglass once, Ancient Hourglass twice. Okay. Can we lethal through this? Let's check this math real quick. We got 15 on board. Okay. R.I.P. Boomed him. Man, I thought we were going to homecoming a Sundisk. It just didn't happen. It didn't pan out. Let it count down to like 5 and then just send it back. Okay. All right, bringing out the victors. Let's see. Same deal. We'll hang on to the early game units, look for some more early game units. I'm curious how we play out against this. We're really looking to play against like other combat centric decks, which the Sundisk deck just is not. So pretty powerful. Excuse me, pretty powerful draw here though. Lots of good early game stuff to do. Here comes the bird. Okay, I think we can go with the Broadwing here. This is one of these places where it's like, it's kind of nice to just go ahead and drop the Bright Steel because they're pretty disincentivized to play units. Guess we can do this. It's like, if he just like doesn't play anything, then we deal the same amount of damage. But if he does play something, then we get the Fleet Feather Tracker Hook to a degree. I think this is fine. Then we can still curve into the Protege, into the double Broadwing. Okay. I got just the blocker for you. It's a 2/4. Here comes in the Protege. Jarvan ready to party.
What's a warrior but time to wield a weapon? The heart and mind to aim its strike.
Okay, he's got 2 fragments in hand. I'm curious if he'll play like a +2 attack fragment here. But if he attacks with Riven, we're definitely just going to kill her next turn. So he's not like super incentivized to attack with her. Now we just got the Broadwings. No tricks, a little sad. This would be a great turn for a sharp sight if it if it wasn't nerfed. I'm looking to punch in for 9. I want to get these units in. We're going to put you in front of here. The 2 damage onto Riven. And so this way, even if he doesn't kill us next turn, which he's going to have a pretty tough time hitting us down from 20, we have good combats ready to go to try and end the game, even without killing the champions. Got that overwhelmed Victor. He's ready for the sword. Dude, give me all the stats. I'm ready. So do we ever even play the Screeching Dragon here? Let's see what this guy does. It's Scout on Victor. That's gross. I think I'm just going to play the Broadwing. I'm going to keep the Twin Disciplines in the ready. And then we're just like 100% going to open attack every time next turn with Jarvan. And so if things look scary, we can like block. We can still +3 health the Broadwing and get it in front of some of these units. But ideally, we'll just be saving that Twin Disciplines for next turn. It's like really tough for him to hit us for 20.
No turning back now.
But the Scout Overwhelm Victor is a pretty reasonable way to do it. Not gonna lie, that's a lot coming at us. It's gonna go for the sword. I'm looking at just putting the Twin Disciplines in front of Riven and then doing a single block on Victor if we have to. We're most certainly going to have to block Victor once this game.
Time for talk.
He's leaving Victor without quick attack? That's interesting. Oh. Well, that was fun and interactive. I guess we do need that sharp sight. All right. All right. I mean, it wasn't really on my radar to get OTK'd like that by a scout Victor. I mean, it kind of is what it is. If he'd had anything but scout, I feel like we would have won that game easily. And so it's like, are you really supposed to like play around the 5% chance that they roll scout on the Victor? I don't know about that. Here, let's look for a cheaper play against Pantheon, though. The Protege's fine, but if we're going to like full mulligan, we'll pick up a reasonable play at some point. It's got to find like something. All right, not the greatest of hands to take in against Pantheon, but I mean, this is one of these matchups to where we're a little happier to have the homecomings in our deck, and so it might turn out to be relevant. It's just like whenever we're playing against Pantheon, the way I kind of like for it to go is just getting like some barrier combats, and so like our units don't die and we're able to still, interact with their tall unit, and then we just wide board them out, and so they've invested all their resources into that one unit. We just like hook it off to the side and punch in for like 10 damage. It's the way that these usually sequence well for us.
All right, let's get to work.
I guess he's not going to do anything till turn 3. It's a-okay with me. He can play his like dragon thing. We can hook it off to the side with a little bird, then chunk in for 8 damage.
Come out from your shadows, demon.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Like we win this combat never, right? Right. Let's be real. Like he's got 5 Manta built up. We can attack the Saga Seeker with the 4. We're just absolutely never winning. I don't think we're in the space to where we want to like deal damage to these. We don't want to go toe to toe with it. Sure. That's a fair way to get ourselves out of this game with the Golden Aegis. Do we want to do it this turn? I think we do. It's going to make him spend a bunch of mana on this Saga Seeker, and then we should get a pretty reasonable turn next turn. Good, no single combats coming at us. Hush, that's kind of lame. That's something a lame person would do. Having the hush, no thank you. Alright, let's see if we can still get out of this. We're gonna be like a little scary in terms of the damage now. Needs to add another unit. But, like, depending on what he drops, we may be able to just, like, hook and not have our units die, right? Laurent Protege is going to come down as a 2/6. If he has to spend, say, like, plays a Pantheon here, there's a non-zero chance that it can hook something and not die, and we still get to build up our board. Oh, the faded happens, right? Because it gets targeted and then it'll deal 5. Well, that's still pretty dangerous. Okay. Oh, it happens after the single combat. Interesting.
Who does not know the name Laurent?
Totes my goats. All right, we need to find a dude. There's gonna be like a little short punching through. If this Shield of Durand was a the +2/+2 sharp sight, we would have won the game right there. Hey Shen, ready to party?
I walk the space between worlds.
Oh, this is gonna be lame. I can already tell. Oh, he targeted the Saga Seeker with a gem. All right. Let's see if we can take it down. This just works like never. If we're gonna be real, this just never works. But I mean, I don't know how we like win the game out of this spot. Is if that he gets to do the challenge. We have the 2 units on board. We can like draw a dude and then him just not have one, but man, that's like really tough to try and pull off. And Jarvan didn't quite call the shot. Is he drained out? We can't play the unit. It gives him the chance to Zenith Blade the Saga Seeker. There's a world where he just doesn't have a spell here, and this doesn't work out. So, gotta give it a shot. Just thinking about it. The perfect spell to drop on the Saga Seeker. Maybe disconnected. Oh my gosh, we get the dude. Now, the thing we have to deal with now is he's got 6 cards in his hand to our 2. I bet that Pantheon flips real soon. Sure. All right. 2 and 5. Not the most successful of days going into our final battle here. Let's see if we can't get one more. Hey, where'd it go? Here we go. All right. So that was tough. I mean, we might have played the Golden Aegis a little bit early. We could have tried to get a little bit bigger board before we dropped it down. But it's tough to just kind of like let them have their way with the board. It's like getting anytime you can get your unit involved in a combat where it has a barrier against the Pantheon deck is just like actual everything that you're trying to do. So it's tough. Like we were having them like so low. Maybe we should have waited a little bit on the rally, but we didn't have any units in our hand to be like, well, let's slow our roll here a little bit and just build up. Right, because the kind of the idea you're looking for there is you get a barrier hook onto their fated unit. You just chunk in a bunch of damage. Your unit doesn't die, and then you get to Golden Aegis rally a challenger again and do the same thing. And so you're not actually losing out on board, but you're still chunking in a bunch of damage. All right, our boy Solari Soldier. Haven't seen you in a while. Doing the Daybreak and the Nightfall thing here with the Nightfall crew.
All right, let's get to work.
All right, Diana's a little bit scary here. I'm not amped about the prospects of Diana coming down and just acing our Sculptor, but that's what's about to happen, right? He's getting a Nightfall. What? Oh. Well, okay then. Some damage. That's some damage. I give you that. I don't feel like we have to single combat any of this stuff down. We can like play a Shen next turn and then be ready for whatever his like wave of more powerful stuff is.
The fate of mortals and spirits falls to me. Enforced equilibrium.
All right, getting in for the damages. Looks pretty good here.
Slight adjustment.
Does not seem promising, my dude. Just passing on turn 5? Oh my gosh, my dude, my dude.
I find them unworthy.
All right. Well, we got this Golden Aegis on the ready. I'm not real sure what's happening with this one, but I feel like we're gonna win. We just don't have anything going on.
Break their spirits and their swords.
So we'll add the units, see if they won't spend some more mana on irrelevant stuff, and then we'll go in for the kill after that. Maybe, perhaps. Maybe something will turn up. Did he just disconnect? He dropped his phone in the toilet? It happens. Maybe that's what happened last turn. Let's see. He dropped his phone in the toilet. He's taking the dookie at work. And he's up here getting the TP out, wiping it off. Trying to have things not be over. All right. So this is like little scary in that we're letting him keep some of his units on board, right? He's still going to have this overwhelm bro, but he should be pretty far from getting himself out of this. Like Unspeakable Horror is the only thing that comes to mind. He could play Night Mist or whatever the thing is that reactivates a drain, but we were taking him to -3, and so we would have been safe from that angle as well. So. Yeah, 3 and 5. Not the most successful of games, but interesting set nonetheless. And so, I think that was a nice little set with the Shen Jarvan. Could I recommend you play this deck ever? Not really. If you like to play Shen, or if it's in your thing, you like things you like to do or play Shen, then by all means go for it. But the big problems that I have with this deck are. The challengers are too small, and so if you're looking at, say, playing like Scouts, that's what's the most like common connection to this. Scouts plays this gigantic collection of Demacia. You can realistically find lots of Scouts lists that just play 37 Demacia cards and 3 Misfortunes. Like, it's not strange to see that whatsoever. But the big thing that Misfortune does is she lets your Fleet Feather trackers either take down an opposing 1 health unit without dying, or trade up into your opponent's 3 health unit. And kind of the same thing applies to Laurent Protege. Just only having 2 attack is pretty bad. And so that's why during like the initial go around, I was talking about being like, well, I kind of want to have Young Witch. I know it's a scary time for Young Witch, but she allows the Protege and the Fleet Feather tracker to attack up. And that's where we find ourselves in a lot of these games, where our opponent just simply plays a 3/3 and we can't do anything about it. And so that piece is kind of bad. But I do like some of the ideals happening here. Like, a lot of the board control aspects of this are pretty decent. A lot of these curves are pretty powerful. We did have some of these games where we're just like, oh, we're not even going to play spells. We're just going to go, Tracker into Sculptor, into Protege, into Shen, into Screeching Dragon. And if your opponent can't, interact with you, and you just get to pick and choose which units you're going to pick off, then it's pretty easy for you to just generate these giant boards and snowball the board. And so there is some like real power to what we're doing here. I just think other decks do this stuff a lot better. And so it certainly doesn't help either. I feel like the biggest problem here is the Vanguard Sergeant no longer being a 3/4. It takes away a lot of these boards to where if we're curving Petricite Broadwing into Vanguard Sergeant, and then you get to say hook your opponent's 2-power 2-attack unit with or 2-cost 2-attack unit with the Broadwing, and then attack the Vanguard Sergeant into their 3/3. It's very easy to build up board that way, and it's very easy to stall out boards with this. But him losing that point of health takes away like so much of that from you. Just not being able to value block or value interact with your opponent's 3/3s. This actually feels like the biggest loss to the deck as opposed to any of these other things that we're doing. But, it did kind of get me thinking with this as to, how would we feel about Fiora Shen? We did play against Mystic Shot once. And as we look at decks like, a Azir running around as to where their interactivity is like Quicksand and Ancient Hourglass, they're doing absolutely nothing that would stop you from interacting with a Fiora. And so I could see her opening up and being pretty decent. You can't interact with the Sun Disk, but if they're just going to throw a bunch of shitty units on the board and not have the only Quicksand reduces her attack. That's it. That's like getting me fairly interested in Fiora, and so not entirely sure. She feels so much stronger than Shen. It was just like. With us commonly playing against the Shurima decks and then really wanting to find 3-attack challengers and then running into these spaces to where we just don't care about Jarvan. It's like a lot of the games to where we played Jarvan, the games were just over at that point anyways and would have been won by just kind of like anything. And so it's like, well, what if we take out the Jarvans and the Kings and add in some of the Fiora protecting cards and get in prismatic barriers and riposts, and it's kind of an interesting space, even with her only having 2 health. And so we might investigate that in the future. In terms of making this deck better after the games we've played, I don't have much. It's kind of tough losing out on Sharp Sight, losing out on Vanguard Sergeant. The King Jarvan is pretty irrelevant. We never came across any of these games as to where we were getting the King and the baby Jarvan on the board, or even using the King to draw Jarvan. Just wasn't quite relevant enough. I don't know at what point this King Jarvan would feel relevant. If it's like if he gave your allies Challenger and rallied, then he would be relevant. Or like, I don't even know if he was like a 10/10 if I would even care. It's like that's like what a strange spot this is in. It's just like I just never wanted this card whatsoever. I never wanted the Shen card either, though. The Shen card just got upgraded as well, and I have no intentions of messing around with that. And so, at the end of the day, is this a good ladder climber? No. Is this a good gauntlet deck? You can probably find a place for it. But I just don't think this is a really strong deck at the end of the day. So that is going to do it for us. I hope you enjoyed the trial anyways. You maybe learned how to manage your relationship with both Jarvans a little bit better. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.